Welcome to Rauta. I am Jerry, and this time we go to France with some avant-gardist or at least modern take of French black metal. This is Jours Pales, I don't know how to pronounce it, but let's go with it. And Dissolution, a third album by this very band which has been always very active. Released through LADLO, always beautiful packaging right here. And you can say a lot of things about the cover, but it's not a typical black metal cover image. I'm not really sure what to think about it. Don't get me wrong, I kind of find it ugly, but also in a way that it's kind of suited for this kind of music. Then again, if I was merely taking a guess based on the cover, nothing like the name or anything like that, the label, I would guess probably some weird ass death metal rather than black metal, but black metal it is of more modern kind. However, like I said, nice digipack packaging, which I always tend to like, and this is how the booklet is like, folding out like this. So lyrics and all the other information here for your viewing pleasure. Obviously it's easier to read it if you, I don't know, for example, buy it. But this is how it looks, and that's the story of the package right here. So Jours Pales started in 2020. Very young band yet still. And already they have 3 albums out. I don't know why I say they maybe because the duo is in plural, but these kind of bands tend to more or less revolve around 1 or 2 people, more maybe so as, you know, bigger bands, but still more than a solo project. Here it says a couple of past members in the band. Know why there is a little bit turmoil or change in the lineup, but it is what it is. So as you can see, all these albums have come quite quickly back to back, like basically once a year, except for 2023 where there was nothing. And I'm not really sure if I'm a fan of this later style of the band, because still, at least for now, of these 3 albums, I prefer the first one the most. The latter 2 albums have probably gone a little bit, I don't know, not in my territory, so to speak, because this is quite a tough cookie to crack. It's hard to describe with rather easily, I mean, like only selected few words, because the thing here is this is going to a lot of places. Sometimes it feels like you're not really listening to black metal at all. Then again, there are lots of melodic parts and things happening which are like, okay, this is actually pretty cool. And then there are these avant-gardist takes, or you could just say very French approach to modern black metal, what is happening here. As such, this is not gonna be the album for those who are really old school with their black metal approach. Whether we're talking about the first wave, like Silly First Battery, what have you, or the early albums or bands from the second wave. Think about very Nordic 1990s and all. This is not gonna be anything like that. This is very much more of the modern take of what black metal is or could be. Some would say it's actually more like on the post black metal thing, because this is not your typical stuff when it comes to the riffs, the compositions, the ways the whole album is executed. At the same time, it sounds fresh and not like really anything else, except maybe for a couple of other French black metal bands. And as such, this is kind of a hard to, you know, cookie to crack in that sense. Like, are you gonna like it because it's so different, or are you gonna hate it because it's too different? So these are the key questions how to, you know, really judge this album. Now, I'll be honest with it. At some points, I feel it's kind of a mediocrity, because there are parts where I feel like this train went too far and I'm not gonna travel right there. But then I also find certain riffs, certain parts where it's like, actually, this is pretty cool, and it's nice that these guys are doing something different. Don't get me wrong, when I say avant-garde, I don't mean it, this is some kind of a freak circus black metal release. It's not that weird or odd or anything like that, but it's just two different kind of what I prefer from black metal. When I go for black metal, I am looking for a certain kind of darkness, or at least violence and intensity. So whether I go for the like of Panzer Division Martyr, where the machine gun is just chewing everybody out into minced metal, or when I go for the early Dark Throne and rawness and this kind of a primitive darkness, it's very different. or the early Bathory, where it's kind of a trashy and really, really metal. Now, Jours Pales is none of that. It's hard really to compare this to the early works of typical black metal because it's actually so different. But like I said, if you're into modern style black metal, if you don't get goosebumps in the wrong way when avant-garde is mentioned in conjunction with black metal, you really might like this. So it depends once again from which corner you're coming from, which kind of bands you're going to compare this to. Now my point here is, if you look at this similar artist tab, you won't find any names. Maybe this is for a couple of reasons. Maybe the band is not too known for people to actually do the voting, or maybe there are not simply bands which are really easy to vote. Like, okay, I'm gonna say this is this and that. But if you have been listening to a lot of French black metal through LADLO releases and liking them, I might say this is definitely right up your alley. But if all this is putting you off, like, okay, I don't like LADLO stuff, I don't like French black metal to begin with, this is not going to change it. This is not a game changer in that sense. It's weird, it's unique, it's something different, and that can go for the better or worse. But I urge you to check it out, figure out for yourself. Links are provided in the description box. So maybe it's not for me, but it might be up for you. So your call, whether you check it or not, up to you. Now, off you go. Bye-bye.